distractions and I'm trying to do something serious. If you're done, just wait. For number 1, broken up into 3 parts, you need to find the value of G, H, and E. B and C are pretty self-explanatory. Do the opposite of what you see to both sides. The opposite of minus 7 is plus 7. You got to do the opposite of that to both sides, cross out the twins, bring the H down, solve for H. C, same thing. Figure out what side the variable's on, look at the number you have to get rid of, do the opposite of what you see to get rid of it. A is a little bit different because with A, they're side by side, and you have to ask yourself, what does that mean when the variable and the number are side by side? Because you should know by now that you need to get rid of the 2. But the way that you get rid of it is asking yourself, well, what's the opposite of that when it's side by side? Well, side by side, or if you remember, it means multiplication. So you got to do the opposite of times 2 to both sides to get the variable by itself. And when you do, you actually might want to write your number equals G. That's actually fine. And if you put G first, whenever you get the answer, that's also fine as well. Number 2. If you missed it, you cannot do it again. But I will tell you the answer. Is this more than 30 days? If this is more than 30 days, guys, you should have put yes for number 2. But if you missed it, I should have put an X because obviously it's the other one if you missed that one. Number 3, the inequality. Unfortunately, some people did miss this, and they shouldn't for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, you should know where the circle goes. It goes over the 11. Only one of these answers has the circle in the correct location. The other reason is this symbol. Should it be open or should it be closed? Well, when it has that equal sign at the bottom of it, it's always going to be closed. So that's not the right one. And there's only one answer that actually has that. Put it in my desk, please. Number 4, which inequality represents this graph? All of these values can represent the value of X. You've got to ask yourself, are these numbers right here in this circle, are they bigger or smaller than this number 2? So all these numbers here represent X. 2 is right there. You got to ask yourself, if they're smaller, then you're going to want the mouth facing away from the X. If they're bigger, you're going to want the mouth facing the X. So you've got to figure that out on your own. Sit. And then you got to ask yourself, should the mouth have a line under it? Yes or no, depending on what it is. On the other side, on the right side, number 5, y'all actually did really well with this for the ones that I graded. Unfortunately, and I think I wrote this on the test, there are 3 correct answers. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take the value of X and you're going to substitute it in place of X every single time. You're going to put a 3 here and here. You're going to put a 3 here and you're going to put a 3 here. And you're going to see if it works. For example, when I take this X, what it equals 3. And I put the 3 right here. Does 3 plus 2 equal 5? Absolutely it does. So that's one of the correct answers. There are 3 correct answers. So if you only got 2, you need 1 more. Or if you got 3 and one of them is wrong, you need to change it to the other one. But I want to see 3 correct answers for that. You got to substitute and then solve. Number 6. Noah wrote that 5 plus 6 equals 11. Then he wrote that 5 plus 6 plus n equals 11 minus n. Are his equations balanced? Unfortunately, if you miss this, you can't do it again. Class, is plus 9 the same as minus 9? The answer is no. That's not balanced because that's not doing the same thing to both sides. So this correct answer should have been no. Now, if this was a plus n and this was a plus n, the answer would be yes. You can do the same thing to both sides and keep it balanced, but you cannot do different things to both sides. It will no longer be balanced. Number 7, which was a difficult one, I'm not going to lie. What you want to do for number 7, and it's hard to see on the screen, I apologize about that, is you want to take this coordinate 2 across and then 1, 2, 3 up. And then take the x value, which is a 2, plug it in for the x's, and then take the y value, which is 3, and plug it into the y's. And ask yourself, and it's going to be one of these. Actually, this is just like the other one. If you missed this, you missed it. Does 2 plus 1 equal 3? Yes, it does. Does 4 times 2 equal 3? No, it does not, and that's why the answer is B. Number 8, complete the table. Y'all did really well with this question also. You take the 1, you substitute it right here. 1 plus 1 is, you're going to put the answer right there. We did 2, we did 3, you have to do 4. Take 4, plug it in, and whatever you get, sorry about that, whatever you get, you're going to put the answer right here. And then, with the next question, number 8, you can do the same thing, but you're going to use this number, and you're going to take 14, substitute it, and whatever 14 plus 1 is, that's going to be your answer. On the back, number 10, Mike bought a new electric car. Okay, for this one, since it's only 2 options, you've got to charge the battery before you can figure out how far you can drive. So the distance is dependent. Dependent, it's dependent upon. So that means it depends upon the charge. So the charge is what's going to happen first. That's the independent. So B is the independent. Okay? That's why the answer was B. Number 11. Number 11 threw a lot of you off. It's actually the most simple question on the test. You want A when it has a value of 8. I'm not going to give the answer away, but I'm going to try to help you. When A has a value of 8, what is the value of B? Well, when A is this, B is what? It's that simple. Okay, if I said, what's the value of A? What is B when A is 5? Well, when A is 5, B is 0. So that's it. It's that simple. You just got to tell me what's the value of B when A equals 8. Number 12. Complete the table. So you're going to take these coordinates and you're just going to put them in the table. For example, this right here, this coordinate is 0, 0, and there's a 0 and a 0. You got to figure out what that coordinate is. Here's your hint. It's 1, something. You got to figure out what that coordinate is. This is 2 across, and then how many up? That question mark is going to go right here. And then you should be able to figure this out on your own as well, just by the sequence 0, 1, 2, something. That's pretty self-explanatory. Number 15. No. Number 13. Get k by itself, so you've got to get rid of the 6. But remember, when you have a fraction represents division. So you've got to do the opposite of dividing by 6 to both sides. You do the opposite of dividing by 6 to both sides and you should find your answer. Number 14, get h by itself, get rid of this number. By now you should know how to do that. Number 15, more than 16. So Philo, whenever you have it, you're going to have the W here, you're going to have the 16 here. More than, this is going to be more than 16. So you've got to ask yourself, since it's greater than 16, should the mouth face the W since it's greater, or should it face the 16? It's going to be one or the other. It's not equal to, so it's not going to be this and it's not going to be this. It's either going to be A or B. Number 16. This is a little bit challenging because of this phrase. At most means the most that you can have is 4. You cannot have more than 4, but you can have less than 4. You can even have an amount equal to 4. So you've got to figure out the number of passengers. Oh, you know what? I actually just now realized that I messed this up because these should all be P's instead of M's. I don't think that confused anybody because nobody asked me about it, but I used the wrong variable because I put the variable there and I didn't put it in the test. I'm sorry about that. So the number of passengers, that number has to be at most 4. So figure out which one works. Number 17, you got to get rid of this by doing the opposite of what you see to both sides. So what is the opposite of that? It's going to be A, B, C, or D. Number 18, a few of you did miss this, and here's what you forgot. I'm actually going to give you a completely different question. And how I solve this, unfortunately, some of you are just going to see this answer and think that's the answer to number 18. It's going to be wrong. But this is how you do it. Absolute values are always positive. So the absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4. The absolute value of 2 is 2. So just add those two numbers and I get 6. So how I just did that is how you will do that. Take the absolute value of both numbers. Remember, that's always going to be positive. and then add the two numbers. That's it. Number 19, the opposite of negative 8. You should not miss that. But if you need help, let me change the answer. What's the opposite of 4? If this was the question, this would be the answer. Okay, the opposite of positive 4 is negative 4. So with that being said, that should be all the help you need to figure out the opposite of negative 8. Number 20, if you missed that one, the hint that I'm going to give you is this. All of these numbers to the 0 power all equal the same thing. And that number is not 0. It's something else. It's another number. The answer is not 0 though. It is one specific number, and I actually just said it. Bonus I'm not going to go over, and that's it. Hope that was helpful. Where'd it go?